said.
You and Sophie were kind of going back at each other a little bit throughout that game. What were you guys saying? What
I don't really want to know what we were saying. Listen, it's basketball, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna put it in words I'm allowed to say. No one scares me, and she sure.
No one scares me. That's what Emily Engstler just said about Sophie Cunningham, and she said it with zero hesitation. This wasn't trash talk for the cameras. This came right after a play where Cunningham swung her arm around and caught Engstler in the face. Both players walked away with double technicals. And the game it came out of? That was the most lopsided night Indiana has had all season.
The Portland Fire went scorched earth on the Indiana Fever. This was like the red wedding of women's basketball. Shout out Ken Swift for that, by the way. And there was some chippiness in this game, of which Emily Engstler in the post-game interview says she's not afraid of Sophie.
The Portland Fire went scorched earth on the Indiana Fever. An expansion team that had lost every single game by 1 bucket up to this point came out and dismantled one of the most talked about rosters in the league. And buried in the wreckage was a stat nobody saw coming. Caitlin Clark, season low, 6 points. So let's get into what actually went wrong here, because there's a lot of it.
The Fever gave us the old bait and switch in the first 3 minutes of the first quarter, going 8-2 with Caitlin Clark scoring or assisting on every single point. And I do not understand if there's like a quid pro quo between Caitlin and Steph in that she wants to get subbed out really early because she has been subbed out early in games. And around the 3-minute mark, she gets subbed out again after scoring or assisting on every.
Watch how this game started, because it makes what followed even stranger. The Fever opened on an 8-2 run with Clark either scoring or assisting on every single point. She was the hot hand. 3 minutes in, she gets subbed out. And the second she leaves the floor, Portland responds with a 13-2 run that flipped the entire game. That's not a coincidence you can hand-wave away.
There are some quotes. Stephanie White answered as to why Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark were subbed out at the 6:30 mark of the first, after which Portland went on a 13-2 run. I thought it was a 15-2 run, so I will correct that also. And Stephanie White said, well, AB, Aaliyah Boston, is still on a minutes restriction, so that's why she's coming out. And that's typically around the same time that we've taken Caitlin out before. We didn't in Golden State because, quite honestly, we didn't want Raven in that environment without another ball handler on the floor. That's been our typical substitution pattern.
Stephanie White addressed it directly after the game. Her explanation was that Aaliyah Boston is still on a minutes restriction, so that's why Boston came out around the 6:30 mark of the first. And she said that's typically around the same time they've pulled Clark before too. She pointed back to the Golden State game, where they didn't want Raven Johnson on the floor without another ball handler. So this is, by her account, just the standard substitution pattern. Here's the problem with running a pattern on a night like this. When a player touches every point in the opening minutes, you read the momentum, not the script. 3 minutes is an incredibly quick hook for your hottest scorer. And it does raise a real question about whether Clark herself is asking to come out early, because she's been pulled early in multiple games now, and she's spoken openly about being protective of her body.
The Fire dropped 37 points just in the third quarter, and they were attacking Caitlin on every play, and when you're forced to defend on every attack, you're gonna get fouls. And Caitlin ended up being in foul trouble, sat out for a lot of the game. The defense in this game was so weird. Their bigs ended up being on the perimeter, guards in the paint. They were over switching on like every possession, should have played zone defense. And I do unfortunately have to call out the coaching in this game because the rotations were just...
Once Clark sat, the floor caved in. Portland dropped 37 points in the third quarter alone, and they were attacking Clark on every possession when she was in. Attack a defender that relentlessly and the fouls pile up, which is exactly what happened. Clark landed in foul trouble and sat for big stretches. But the defensive scheme is where this gets genuinely confusing. Indiana's bigs were stranded on the perimeter, guards were buried in the paint, and they were over-switching nearly every possession. There were lineups with Ty Harris, Raven Johnson, Grace Berger, and Michaela Timpson on the floor together. That's 4 of your 5 spots in an alignment that didn't make sense against this opponent.
And what's wild is the Portland Fire shot 39% from the 3. That's good, that's above average. The Indiana Fever shot 23% from the 3, 41% overall, but the Fire made over half of their shots, shooting 51% as a team. And while Aaliyah Boston, Aaliyah Boston did come away with 18 points. Kelsey Mitchell came away with 17 points. And yeah, that's a fine stat line, but the team was just bad. Aaliyah Boston was losing her dribble. She was getting picked. Kelsey Mitchell threw up this wild shot. I guess they called it a broom shot. And the Indiana Fever were getting out-rebounded by the worst rebounding team in the league.
The box score tells the rest of the story. Portland shot 39% from 3, which is above average, and 51% from the field overall, making more than half their shots as a team. Indiana shot 23% from 3 and 41% overall, and the Fever somehow got out-rebounded by the worst rebounding team in the league. Individually, there were respectable numbers. Aaliyah Boston finished with 18, Kelsey Mitchell with 17. On paper, fine, but Boston was losing her dribble and getting stripped repeatedly, and Mitchell put up a wild heave they're calling a broom shot. The line looks okay, the film does not. What's wild is the context. Portland was on the back end of a back-to-back. The night before, they lost by 20. Then they came into Indiana, put up 100 points, and won by 16. A tired expansion team beat the Fever by 16.
But Alex Sarama is a 30-year-old first-year coach of an expansion team. What he's doing with the Fire is so impressive. And Carla Late, the speed that she runs down the court is wild. She just toughs through defenders in the paint. At her size, it's impressive. And Emily Engstler is a beast out there. Her blocks this season have been statement blocks. She blocked Aaliyah, got in her face. And by the way, Emily Engstler did have a Fever jersey on at one point and was let go from the team. And Meg Gustafson.
So who actually showed up for Portland? Start with Alex Sarama, a 30-year-old first-year head coach of an expansion franchise. What he's pulling out of this roster is legitimately impressive. Carla Light is running the floor at a speed that lets her bulldoze through defenders in the paint at her size. And Engstler has been throwing statement blocks all season, including one right in Boston's face. There's a detail here that adds an edge to all of it. Engstler wore a Fever jersey at one point and was let go by Indiana. Meg Gustafson, another overlooked piece, put down a clinic. This is a roster full of players who were passed over, and they took it out on the team that's been the center of attention.
And in Meg Gustafson's post-game interview, she got very emotional.
I mean, we're a bunch of overlooked players, and I think we all have a chip on our shoulder. I've really never been respected as a basketball player until I've gotten here. So I'm really thankful for...
I respect you, Meg.
I'm thankful for this team, this organization. They really believe in me. Why am I crying?
It's okay.
Ooh, that hit me.
You got this.
I'm good.
And then there's this. Meg Gustafson, mid-interview, breaking down in tears. "I've really never been respected as a basketball player until I've gotten here." That's what she said, before the emotion took over and she had to ask why she was even crying. That right there is the entire identity of this Portland team. A group of players who feel overlooked, who play to each other's strengths, and who just got their statement win against the most discussed opponent on the schedule. That's the contrast that defined this night. One side played with a chip on its shoulder and everything to prove. The other side looked discombobulated, ran rotations that didn't add up, and got nothing from its biggest stars.
Put down a clinic, but Caitlin Clark came out with a season low of 6 points. I do remember watching her in 2024. She had only made one bucket, but this game tonight and one other game against the Seattle Storm last season when she was playing through injury are the lowest scoring games she has had since she has stepped into the WNBA. It does make me wonder if she's fully healthy. It does seem to me she's been asking for subs more often. She is getting subbed out very early in games. She did only play 22 minutes, but boy, are the media gonna have a field day with...
Let's stay on Clark, because the numbers here matter and they deserve specifics. 6 points is a season low. Going back through her WNBA career, there are really only 2 other games this quiet. A single bucket night in 2024, and a game against the Seattle Storm last season when she was playing through injury. Those are the only comparables. So when a healthy player suddenly drops to single digits, it's fair to wonder what's actually going on. She played just 22 minutes. She's been requesting subs more often. She's been pulled early repeatedly. And she shot another airball in this one, which is genuinely unusual for her. None of this is a diagnosis. But the pattern is real, and pretending otherwise isn't analysis. Here's where it gets complicated for the league, though. A hit piece came out on Clark recently that frankly read like some of the most biased reporting you'll see, and it fits a pattern that's hard to ignore. The same intensity that got celebrated when it belonged to Diana Taurasi back in 2023 and 2024 gets framed as a problem when it belongs to someone else. The WNBA media's slant has become genuinely tiresome, and games like this one give it all the oxygen it needs. Now think about what's actually true at the same time. The coaching in this game deserved criticism, and the rotations were indefensible. Clark didn't play well, Boston didn't play well, Mo Billings got 8 minutes and was yanked having done nothing, and Lexi Hull couldn't buy a bucket. The Fever earned the loss. Both things can be true. The team played badly, and the media coverage around Clark is still slanted. Holding both ideas at once is the honest read. There's a discomfort in saying all of this out loud. This is a team that before tonight was losing by a single possession every time out. That suggests a group that's close, that's making adjustments, that deserves the benefit of the doubt. This game was the opposite of close. And when your hottest hand gets pulled 3 minutes in, your bigs end up on the perimeter, and you get out-rebounded by the league's worst rebounding team, the benefit of the doubt only stretches so far. So here's the question I want you to sit with. Was this a one-night collapse from a team that's still figuring it out, or did Portland just expose something structural about how Indiana is being coached and deployed? Because those are two very different problems, and only one of them gets fixed by the next tip-off. Tell me which one you think it is in the comments. And if this breakdown was worth your time, like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.